So welcome to Dinner with Friends. Meet, greet, create, enjoy.
Boss, Tony Dancer, full house, a bunch of dancers. Virgos, Scorpios, and a couple cancers. I'm living nigga, is you listening at the answer? Get money, youngins, if you hustling, it's the anthem. Keep your profile low, stand aside at the channel. You know my life, make them ride, make them ride.
Ladies, good evening. How y'all doing?
Good.
All right?
Yeah.
Everybody relax. I heard y'all was hungry. So listen, I like to do things for what I feel, like the energy that I'm feeling. So on the end of the table, we did a 5-spice marinated chicken. We marinated the chicken over 24 hours. Some 5-spice and like a teriyaki soy. Right here in front of you, I also marinated some salmon. And then we did a ponzu sauce. Ponzu is like a sweet, a citrus soy sauce. And then I made a caramelized ginger Thai chili. In the middle of the table is a vegetarian dish. I made a pineapple fried rice. This is my twist on doing something like when we go to PF Chang's a lot, lettuce wraps. So we did some crisp duck lettuce wraps and then topped it with some caramelized ginger. Right here we hand rolled a few hours ago. I made my own spring rolls. So welcome to Dinner with Friends, Meet, Greet, Create. I'm glad y'all here. Act like you at home. I got plenty to eat, so don't be shy. Eat all your food. I got plenty in the back and enjoy.
Thank you.
It's kinda silly how I do it, bro. Feel me? Tough as Brillo, but it's beautiful. If you was up on it, homie, then you would know. Yep, fresh dip to the cuticles. Fresh to death, dressed to kill, no funeral. A little polo, Supreme and Uniqlo. Real clean, driving up Halsey. Past Bedford, Nostrand, Marcy.
How's the food?
Food's delicious. Very good.
I feel much better. We can talk now.
Right. Correct.
Oh,
The conversation was gonna have a different tone.
I don't know if I want to talk.
It was gonna be hangry.
It's gonna be a hangry talk.
Yes.
I don't know how bad I want to talk now. I might need to knock out for a few. Nah, let's have some conversation. All right. First of all, thank all of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All of you are gorgeous, beautiful, intelligent women. I'm trying to butter y'all up. And I'm just so glad you sat down with me. But I'll go into what I want to start with first.
Okay.
Does misogyny still exist in business, in the workplace? How's it being a woman impacted your journey as businesswomen, entrepreneurs, or just in corporate America? I mean, in government, I don't know. But what do you guys think?
It is absolutely a reality.
I am Keisha Nichelle Hines. I'm Senior Vice President of External Affairs for the Georgia Chamber of Commerce.
From a pay scale, yes, it does exist. Men do still make significantly more than women in the workplace. But, how you combat that is you continue to be the amazing woman that you are,
right,
and you blaze your own trail and you chart a path for yourself. And I think if you don't ask, you won't get. So a closed mouth will not get fed.
Straight up.
And so I'm going to continue to ask for that same pay grade. I'm going to continue to ask for that bonus structure. I know today is a yes tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to keep doing my thing.
Right.
But it absolutely, unequivocally still exists.
Right.
And I don't think that as a woman, you should be emotional about it either.
Right.
The beauty of it is that you know it exists, so then you figure out how do I continue to be great and be dope in my lane and continue to outwork these men that I work with.
Right.
And I don't let that deter me at all.
Right.
I'll continue to outwork them, continue to outsmart them, and continue to be graceful and continue to be a non-bitch. Because I think that you continue to be dope and amazing, but be sweet. The same way. Does that make sense?
So is that your response to it when you're confronted with it? So you say you have been confronted?
Absolutely, unequivocally. I have had the hard conversations that people don't like to have. And I think it is in the uncomfortable space of people, if I'm able to get you to even think about what I say, I know that at some point it may change how you view things.
Right.
And if I can change things, maybe not for me, but for the next brown girl that comes along,
Right.
then I feel like I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be good.
Right.
So yeah.
When you were saying basically you have to, in so many words, kind of set your own mark, and
You do.
You gotta go for it. Like when I spoke to Ming, one of the things that Ming said was, you don't get what you deserve. And I've heard that before. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
Yes.
So as a woman, like how in business, I don't, you know, she's saying you kind of have to set your own mark. You're an entrepreneur.
Yes, I never really, I just figured out what that word meant probably like 2 minutes ago with context clues. But I am Ming Lee and I'm owner of Snob Life Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. I never had to deal with it because one, I work in the beauty industry, and two, I've always been like an entrepreneur. I guess like in the business world or doing business, my problem is that somebody think it's somebody else coming to the meeting. Like, you know, like, this is it. She's here. Right. Like, you know, like even when I built out my salon, my contractor, he never knew until the end that it was actually my salon. So I remember when I wanted to make my office bigger, he was like, yeah, I need a change order. I'm like, okay, here's a change order. He's like, can you authorize that change order? I'm like, let me call. I'm like, I'm gonna check with them because my real name is Elita. So I'm gonna check with them and then I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna email you. You know what I mean? Everything over. She'll email you. So at the end, you know what I mean? I finally paid him like his last little bit. He was like, you know, so nice working with you. I never caught your name. He's never asked me my name. I'm like, oh, it's Elita. He was like, oh.
Oh.
I said, yeah. I said, see, you didn't even have to do all that for them change orders.
Right.
So I never really had to deal with it. I had to deal with more so people taking me serious. Being a woman, like, you know what I mean? They always think somebody else has the money. It's just me.
I'm my partners.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I had to deal with, but I know it exists because I have friends in corporate America and stuff like that. I just personally never had to experience it as far as like, you know, pay weight and stuff. And I've always, since I was, every job I had, I always wanted my money at the end of the day, like a waitress. Like if I work today, I want my money today. How often do y'all
You're in a
pay?
rare space.
Yeah.
Ain't many.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
It's interesting.
My name is Yawanda Carter Scott. Professionally, most people know me as Yawanda Carter. I'm an attorney. I am a business and entertainment practitioner. I've been working for myself, the Carter Law Firm, for the last 20 plus years as a transactional attorney in the entertainment space.
Because I started out doing entertainment law in the music space. And, you know.
Super misogyny.
Well, you know, yes. And so I would admit that 99% of my clients were male. There was a point to where I represented a man who was in love with a stripper. And the interesting thing is T-Pain, D4L, and Too Short never mistreated me. They never spoke, you know, horribly around me. And I deal with rappers who will, if they would curse around you, would say, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Carter. You know, I apologize. These were men who were raised primarily by mothers and aunts and grandmothers. So they were very well mannered, if you will. So my instances came very much like Mean Lee's was, I would be in the bank and I would say, can you check my bank? And they would say, well, can you get Mr. Carter's, you know, approval? And I was like, well, I can get Miss Carter's approval and she's standing right here. And then I would deal with predominantly white male attorneys. And I was negotiating a deal once and he said to me, you wonder what you're going to do is, and the unfiltered Yawanda came out and I said, well, first of all, I'm not your child. So what you're not going to do is tell me what I'm going to do. You can ask me to consider this, and then we will move forward. And it's how you entertain the conversation, and maybe they will approach it differently. But I'm also I'm the type of person that won't let it slide. I will handle it respectfully, diplomatically, but I will handle it.
Jazz, you being a female mechanic, and I know that's probably interesting to everybody in the room. You probably deal with misogyny at work and just overall because of what you do. Like, talk about it.
I had to deal with it every single day. My name is Jazz. I'm 29 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm an automotive service technician. I've been working on cars since I was 16 years old. From my colleagues, from supervisors, from customers, you name it. People look at me, they're like, you don't turn wrenches. I don't believe it. Until they see my hands and like, okay, yeah, you turn wrenches. But I remember one time I was under a Mercedes, a C-Class Mercedes, dropping an oil pan. And then this guy comes in the shop and he's like, are you the secretary? I'm like, what about me says that I'm a secretary? But I have to have thick skin. I'm a black woman in the South, in a male-dominated field, and I have to. And that being sweet, that does not work. They gotta know, like, okay, she's about her business, she works hard, I have to be strong. That it is what it is. And fortunately, my childhood, and my mom, you know, raised me to be the woman that I am today, because she raised boys, I'm the only girl, and she was harder on me than my brothers. And I never understood it. And we bumped heads all the time. And now I look back, I'm like, she did that to prepare me, because she knew that I had that passion, but she did it to prepare me for what the world was gonna throw at me. So, yeah, I deal with it.
I really know that it existed, but I kind of used it for my benefit, to be honest. Like,
I am Tierney Gundy. I'm a municipal court judge for the city of Atlanta.
you have to understand that if you are misogynist or sexist or something, that means that you're also drawn to it.
Right.
So, you know, it was like I decided that I was going to turn what people perceived as a weakness into a strength.
Wow.
And yeah, like if I knew you were misogynist and certain things appealed to you, I appealed to those things to get what I needed, to get the result that I needed. Honestly, I told you earlier, in this life, the next life, and the life after that, I would come back as a woman and as a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't change that any day of the week. I mean that, like, because the black woman is who has me sitting as a judge right now. So I was able to use being smart, but also being attractive, being Southern. Like, people love me. Yes. Men love my Southern drawl.
Oh, yeah.
Say it again, no problem. Like, whatever is going to get us through this meeting, going to get it where I can get this project done, build these hours. As she said, I'm not emotional about it or sensitive. I am result driven.
Straight up.
So my mom always told me when I was little, I used to be super anal about grades. She said, you are the smartest person I know, but you are way prettier than you'll ever be smart. All I want for you to do is to learn how to use all of your gifts.
Right.
That is when I learned that you have to use that against them.
Right.
And it worked.
It was Lynn Collins that said we gotta use what we got to get what we want. That's real, you know?
And being a woman, I've gotten everything I wanted.
Right.
There's nothing I've ever wanted that I didn't get because I was a woman. And to be honest, everything that I've gotten because I was a woman.
Right.
I appreciate you for saying that and being honest about it.
No, I love it.
I think a lot of women won't be honest about it, but I think it's absolutely true. I have clients come to me and say, I want a female attorney, but they want a female attorney who looks good walking into the room, but who is also articulate and smart. So, and I think sometimes we feel bad because people feel it's playing into a stereotype, but it's true.
No.
And I appreciate you for saying that. Yes.
Right. You know?
Yeah, but it's also, a lot of times I think for what you just said, like, women have to stop apologizing for being women.
Yes.
Right.
We are who we are.
Right.
Accept it, don't accept it, but know that I may use it against you.
Right.
Like, stop being apologetic. We have to just be our unapologetic, authentic selves. I have big hips. Fitted clothes look better on me. So when it wasn't in season or in culture or wasn't cool in early 90s, late 90s, I was still wearing tight dresses. I just didn't think suits looked good on me. I didn't want to wear a suit to work. And in the legal community, they wanted you to look a certain way. I never subscribed to that. But I still worked, and I stayed at work at 10 and 11 o'clock at night in my tight dress with the guys and worked just as hard. But I felt more comfortable in my dress than in a suit.
You know what's funny about that? As a man, it's like a man will like to see it, but they get mad because you're using it. They know you're using it, but they can't turn away from it. Like, everybody was mad at, what's her name? Teacher Bay.
Teacher Bay, yeah.
She
was doing it.
The thing about it was she was doing it, but she wasn't overdoing it.
But the greater majority that were mad at her were women.
Yeah.
And those were women
'Cause
that
they don't
weren't
have
being
it.
their authentic selves.
Right. Men have said, she knows what she doing. She knows what she doing with that dress on. We get mad at it. Miley,
Me, I
I don't know. It's like my name is Miley Teal, and I am the founder and CEO, Chief Experience Officer at Curlbox. I had one job out of college, and probably similar to me, I was just like, I'm worth $1 million. Like, and if I'm never gonna make $1 million here. I know I'm not. And so I was just like, I'm going to figure out a way to make my own money. And so, unlike my game is probably a little bit different because I exist sort of online in a cloud. You know what I mean? It's like I do 100% of my business is kind of email, phone call, and just meetings and stuff like that. But I just got a third property, and I had 2 realtors taking me around looking at places, and every time the guy would pair me up with the guy realtor. I'm like, he is the assistant realtor. He is not. We are not he's not. We are not together. And they would just be like, oh, it's you. It's like, yes, it's me. Why is it blowing your mind that like women can do more than you? And like, please stop giving me advice. Like, I don't know why men think that like something better. Oh, do you want to know? Can I give you some business advice? Like, no, you can't. You know what I mean? It's like you do the real estate, and you let me do this. But I think so. You always have men like, I know you know what you're doing, but like, have you ever tried this? It's like, stop. So
you don't feel like maybe at times you might be, I don't want to say defensive, but just automatically turned off to what a man might say because of just kind of societal norm.
I'm
you
playing
feel like
my
men
own game. Like, I'm doing
but you're
business
an anomaly.
for
You gotta,
me.
Like,
I don't,
you gotta
male,
almost
female,
be patient.
Smurf, I'm out here. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, but you gotta almost be patient with the fact that you are an anomaly. There's not people walking around. There's not 1,000 Miley's walking in Atlanta. It's not.
Right.
It's like people just go with what's normal to them and what they know. So as much as y'all look at men, like, I'll be the first to say, women are smarter than men.
That's true.
Right. That's just it. You asked if we get defensive, and that's just it. We know when the advice is good advice, and when it's chauvinistic advice. So we're not going to be offended by chauvinistic. By good advice. We know how to discern the difference between this is somebody looking out for our best interest.
I think all men are chauvinists to a degree because a man will feel like he's opening the door for a woman, or if a woman falls, you feel like, oh, let me help this helpless woman up. You know. But sometimes a woman don't want your help. Sometimes they want you to
help me up if I fall.
No. If you fall, I'm gonna help you up. I'm gonna help you up. I might laugh later when I know you're alright. But what I'm saying is, it's certain things a man might kick into man mode because we just programmed to think that women can't handle it like we can.
But then you go back to what the judge says is women use that to their good. Like, I have a guy that I do a lot of business with him, right? So I always act helpless because I really want him to do extra stuff. So I'm trying to honestly build out.
I'm gonna do you a favor and edit that out. so we can keep doing it.
He's still gonna see this.
He's still gonna do it. He's still gonna do
it. I don't know how. He was like, okay, I'll just set up everything. All you have to do. He's like, okay, give me 20 minutes and I'm gonna call you back. I'm like, perfect. And so my boyfriend is in the car. He was like, you could call these people. I said, yeah, I know, but he's gonna do it right. I can't wait to feel like he's helping me. So why would I take that joy away from him?
Why would I rob him of that joy?
Women actually, that's so true. Women actually do use our gifts for the greater good.
Oh, absolutely.
But I just want to say that it's not that we have a problem with accepting help or advice from men. Like, my father taught me everything I know, and he is a man, and he taught me like I was a man, not like I was a girl.
Mine too.
He said to me, I wanted a boy so bad, and then I got you, and then I understood that God gave me the woman with grace, but the heart of a man. But he believes I can do absolutely anything. So I think that's the part. It's not that we don't mind your help. We just want you to respect that if I wanted to do it, I could. That's it. But that's the hard part. Because there are certain men who look at women and make predetermined decisions that she could never do that.
Right.
She could never be president. You might be wrong. Because women, we can do anything we choose to do. We just make different choices.
Absolutely.
That's true. I agree.
It's kinda silly how I do it, bro. Feel me? Tough as Brillo, but it's beautiful. If you was
The attraction is that people are looking for alternative ways to make a lot of money.
just to kill, no funeral. A low polo, Supreme and Uniqlo.
There's a lane for everybody.
Right.
And I think it's judgmental to think anything other than that.
Nostrin Marcy, she's so mean, her steez so bossy. You already know how Brooklyn.
All right, my name is Jazz. I'm 29 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm an automotive service technician. I've been working on cars since I was 16 years old. I've always liked math and science and physics, and I actually went to college for mechanical engineering. I'm passionate about empowering women, so I make sure to educate my female customers in particular, because they tend to know the least about cars, and they want to know, just don't have anyone to teach them. So my objective is to bridge the gap between women and cars and give women that confidence to know what questions to ask when approaching a dealership.